Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the audiobook series. I know this one was a little bit longer than last time. I apologize, but I am back. And today we're going to finish up book 2 in Michael, the Last Angel of Earth. Now, where we last left off, Nathaniel and others have just learned of Michael's existence, and now a plan is set in motion to capture him and deal with him. So without further ado, let's dive right into Chapter 10. Into the night. After the attack on the village earlier today, Barjan distances himself from everyone. When the abbot goes to speak with him, Barjan quickly grabs his sword and locks himself in his room, leaving his friends to clean up the mess. He never leaves his room for the rest of the day except when he needs to get food. But he never stays with the others and returns to his room to eat. Margaret begins to worry. She knows more than anyone why Barjan is upset and what is going through his head. Finishing her dinner, she returns to the church, hoping to talk to Barjan. As she approaches his door, she knocks once and waits for an answer. All she gets is silence. Barjan, I know you're in there. I can see your shadow. Please open the door. She sees a faint outline of the shadow through the door's cracks, but nothing more. She then lets out a sigh. I see you're still in no mood to talk. That's fine. I'll talk then. She clears her throat before continuing. Look, I know these last few years have not been easy. We've seen a lot of good people been led astray, and I don't want that to happen to you. I know you still blame yourself for what happened all those years ago and believing you are unworthy. But I see this spark in you. It's amazing. That's why others push you, especially me. But it's yours. Yours to do whatever you want. And whatever you choose to do with it, I know you'll be amazing. She pauses for a moment. There are people here who care for you. Whenever you want to talk, we'll be here. She leaves Barjan's door and goes back to join the others. On the other side, Barjan heard every word Margaret said. His eyes are tear-ridden, and she brushes them away. He listens to the same voice again. Turning his head, he sees a being made of shadow sitting on his bed. The figure mockingly shakes his head. Why the hell are you back? Exclaimed Barjan. The shadow man looks at the former angel with a blank face. Look at you. Crying like a newborn baby. You've survived worse, stated the shadow. What's your point? Barjan asked. The shadow then zips to the window. You opened your sword. What happens when the others find you? You'll have to kill them too. Can you? Shadow then zips over to Barjan. Will you be able to when the time comes? Maybe they will kill you this time. Or is that what you want? Before Barjan can react, the shadow vanishes, but not before leaving behind a sinister laugh. It echoes in his room, and he is left all alone once more. Sitting on his bed, he goes to grab Hellfire. He slowly unsheathes the blade partially, until he notices his reflection on the steel. In the reflection, he's a broken man who lost everything, and when he found some small measure of peace, he lost it again. But he will not let them suffer the same fate as the others. It is here he decides his fate. He's gone, yelled Fiona. The following day, inside the church, Margaret, Fiona, Colum, and Ambrose find the door to Barjan's room open, with his bed and other contents remaining, except for his trunk and a few articles of clothing. He must have left in the middle of the night, stated Colum. Where would he go and why? Asked Fiona. I don't know where, but I know why, said Margaret. The others turned to her for answers, and she explains to them what she remembered as a young girl. Her story mirrors what Barjan told Ambrose. The abbot strokes his chin upon hearing more of the story. Tell me, Margaret, was Barjan the one? Inquired Ambrose. Abbot? Was he the one who started all this? Is he the fallen? Margaret nods her head. The fallen? What are you talking about? Asked Colum. There's no time to explain. Right now we need to find Barjan. Margaret, get your things. Please bring him back to the village immediately. Tell him I need to speak with him. But Ambrose, what if Barjan doesn't want to come back? What then? She asked. The Irishman let out a sigh. Tell him of the name Azrael, and that I have something that might help him on his path for redemption. Before Margaret interjects, Ambrose shooed her away. As the woman leaves the church, the friends talk among themselves. Ambrose, what are you getting at? Who is this fallen? And what's this about the angel of death? Asks Fiona. Ambrose opens the doors to his study and goes over to his desk. Opening a drawer, he pulls out a scroll he received many years ago. My friends, it's time I told you the story of the Watcher named Michael. Chapter 11, Homecoming. The morning air is crisp and the dew cleanses the green around him. In the trees he hears the chirping of birds and the melodies of others. These little things often put a smile to his face. Walking through the forest, he thinks about Margaret and the others. He feels terrible for leaving them in the middle of the night, but he had no choice. If he had stayed, the village would have been in even greater danger, and he does not want to be responsible for that again. Continuing down his path, he hears the sound of a twig snap behind him. The sudden noise startles the birds. Taking cover behind a few trees, he rests his back against a dead oak and moves his hand to his sword. Soon the noise changes to leaves crunching under a soft boot. With the sound getting closer, he slowly begins drawing out the blade. However, before he turns around and attacks his follower, his nose picks up a familiar smell. It is sweet, with the scent of springtime. And there is a hint of mint along with it. Only one person has that type of smell. Margaret? Asked Barjan behind the tree. It's me, you can come out, she replied. Moving away from the tree, Barjan let go of Hellfire. What are you doing here? Looking for you. Margaret, I can't go back. The village is better off with me gone. We need you. I cannot go back. I used Hellfire, and every satanic warmonger will be looking for me. I'm a beacon now. I must leave. You can't run forever, Michael. Sooner or later they will find you, and you must make a stand. I've made up my mind, and there's nothing you can say that will change otherwise. Barjan turns his back to her and is about to leave when she stops him with a name. Tell me, does the name Azrael ring a bell to you? Barjan halts in his tracks and glances over his shoulder. He's not heard that name for some time now. What did you say? Azrael. Does his name mean anything to you? He was one of the original Watchers. To you humans, he was the Angel of Death, or Rebirth, depending on the translation. He fought against the hordes of darkness when the faction still ruled them, and he was one of the best warriors under the Creator, second to Metatron. How did you come to this name? Ambrose told me to mention it to you. He knows something about this angel that may help you on your journey. Barjan is lost for words. His fear tells him to continue with the path, but in the back of his mind, his conscience is telling him to return. He sighs heavily and agrees to go back, but under one condition. I'll stay to hear what Ambrose has to say, and then I'll go. Margaret nods her head, and the pair turn around and walk home. While the duo continue their journey, they believe themselves alone. Deep in the woods behind them, two cat eyes watch them from afar. The figure pulls out a gem from his cloak and utters an unknown incantation. Suddenly an image made of black smoke appears. Report, Man-Eater. The angel is returning to his village. I believe you'll find a welcome quite impactful. Very good. Keep me informed of what happens. And remember, Man-Eater, I expect you to deal with him when the opportunity arises. Man-Eater nods and tells his master that the task will be fulfilled. Man-Eater continues stalking his prey from the shadows, with the smoke lifting, ever keeping a watchful eye. As for Margaret and Barjan, they are a little more than a mile away when a stench fills the air. It is a foul odor, but uncomfortably familiar. Smell that? It's smoke, and there's something else to it. Margaret sniffs the air. It almost smells like paper. Suddenly, the realization dawns upon Barjan and Margaret. The church! Running as fast as they can, the duo follow the smell until they see the smoke through the clearing of the hills. As the smoke becomes more in focus, so too is the village. Nearing the village gate, they stop before the opening and come upon a sight all too familiar. Slowly walking inside their home, all around them lay the bodies of the villagers they have grown to love. Men, women, and children are scattered all across the Emerald Land. Houses are torched, and the fields are set ablaze. But that is not the worst part. What breaks their heart even more is the sight of the church, once a symbol of bleak hope in a world of darkness. The building is now nothing more than a crumbling ruin, with its Celtic cross eclipsed by a shadow. With fear gripping their hearts, they run towards the church to see if there are any survivors. Bursting open the charred doors, Barge and Margaret enter the rubble. They found nothing but silence and death. Cautiously going further, nothing remains. The benches are broken, the altar smashed to pieces, and their rooms ransacked except for one closed door. Bargain motions his sword tip against it. Pushing ever so slightly, he dodges out of the way as bullets ripple through the door. Go away! Fiona? Fiona, is that you? Michael, you're back. Is Margaret with you? Bargain is stunned for a moment. He can't remember the last time he went by his old name. Yes, I'm here, said Margaret. Unlocking the door, Bargain and Margaret see Fiona covered in blood, with her hair in shambles. Her face is dirty and her hands are still shaking. Fiona, what happened? Where is Ambrose? Fiona moves aside and shows Cullum bandaging himself while Ambrose lies on a bed with a massive hole in his chest. He is barely clinging to life. Bargain quickly moves past Fiona and rushes to his friend's side. The former angel falls to his knees and begins praying for forgiveness. I'm so sorry. This is all my fault. I should not have left. If I had stayed, then... Ambrose shushed him. Angels do not let fear come over them, he said weakly. Bargain is speechless. You knew? Ambrose nods his head. The tattoos, the sword, the warrior spirit. I knew you were Michael. It wasn't that difficult, he chuckled softly. Why didn't? It was not my business to bring up. I knew you would tell me when you were ready, replied Ambrose. And do they know? He said, referring to Cullum and Fiona. Ambrose coughed before answering. After we sent out Margaret to find you, Ambrose told us who you were, and believe me, our reactions were not pleasant, said Fiona. But Ambrose soon helped us understand your perspective, replied Cullum. Ambrose, is there anything I can do? Asked Bargain. Ambrose nods his head. There is one thing. He turned his head to Cullum. Give him the parchment. Cullum hands Bargain a worn scroll and asks him to unravel it. Doing so, Bargain's eyes light up. Is this? A map, leading to the secret location of the Tomb of Azrael. During the early years of the war, I was tasked with locating holy relics to keep hope alive and to fight against Lucifer. Alas, I found nothing except this document containing the location of a tomb. When the war was over, I spent the next 4 years researching more about its location. My research led me to the conclusion that the tomb belongs to Azrael and is located within the Vatican. My notes also state it is rumored to house his armor and his weapons. And last I checked, only an angel can wear the armor of another angel. Bargain soon realizes what Ambrose is getting at. Ambrose, I can't. The abbot clasps Bargain's hands. I know you are scared. I know that you have lost hope. But I need you to fight again. There is some good in this world, Michael, and that is always worth fighting for, stated Ambrose. Ambrose can still see the fire within him, even in his weakened state. Bargain lets out a sigh and looks at the abbot directly. Abbot, what must I do? Put aside the Nephilim. Become who you were born to be, replied Ambrose. Suddenly a violent cough takes over him. His time is running out. He asks Fiona for his diary. Giving it to him, he gives it to the former angel. What is this for? Asked Bargain. If you're going on this quest, you'll need allies. Inside, you will find records of 3 contacts I have made in Europe. They are much like you. You need them. You need to make them hope again, said Ambrose. He then tightly grasped his friend's hand. Promise me you will do this, Michael. Promise me, said Ambrose. Bargain looks at everyone in the room. All their eyes on him. The pressure was intense. With everything the abbot had said, he thinks it is impossible to fight back against Lucifer. Yet a human reminds him of what it means to hope. Squeezing the abbot's hands, he nods firmly. I promise you, abbot, I will not fail. Before he lets go, Ambrose gives him one last piece of advice. Before I meet our Creator, I'll tell you only this, Michael. In your quest to save the world, pray tell you don't destroy yourself in the process, he stated weakly. With his last breath given, Ambrose's story ends. Soon the room is quiet once more. Barjan feels tears forming in his eyes and slowly removes his hands from his friend's limp grip. Placing them on his chest, Barjan makes a sign of the cross, as does everyone else. And with a final praise, he said his goodbye. Rest in peace, Abad Ambros. And with that, we have finished Book 2 of Michael, the Last Angel of Earth. Thank you everyone for joining us for another episode in the audiobook series. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And also, be on the lookout for my website, which is coming soon. And make sure to buy a copy of Michael, the Gathering, and Amulet Son of Persia, as I'm still having a summer sale on all ebooks. So if you're interested in buying, head to my bio on the front of my page and click the links down below. Until next time, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. This is the Wandering Scribe of the Wandering Quill, signing out, wishing you all a wonderful day.